We have a very special chance here to hear from some of our vaunted elders and very cool ladies to my left here. Give it up, everybody, for Sugar Sullivan and Barbara Billups. We're just going to chat a little bit, mainly them. Lucky you. So, hello.
Hello.
How are you two doing?
We're great. We're good.
Yeah, you look good. I just want to start off by apologizing. I forgot my matching blouse. Sorry about that. I did the best I could under
I
circumstances.
mean, we sent it to you. You know, at least you could have worn it.
I'm forgetful.
And don't forget it the next time.
You got it. You got it. I'll get on it. I thought it'd be nice because how many people have been at a talk or a discussion or been at an event with Miss Sullivan, Miss Billups before? Okay, so a lot of you are fresh and new out there, which is great. That's super exciting. I think it'd be really good to have a little start off with just like where.
Well, you know what we're going to say, so we can just leave it.
Yeah. I'll send the rest of them to your room later. You can just talk to them there. No, I thought it
You
was.
didn't wear the matching shirt, but I love the lavender.
Thank you. I'm representing
That's sexy.
Minneapolis, Little Prince.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah, I
you,
know.
thank
You know Prince.
Exactly.
Prince.
So I thought we should just talk a little bit about where you each sort of come from,
Okay.
where you grew up, and a little bit like the culture, the city, the family you grew up in. Maybe we could start with you, Sugar. Like, where'd you come from?
Where did I come from? Okay. I was born in Harlem Hospital in New York City. 1930, which makes me a young lady. And I grew up in New York. I didn't leave New York until 1997.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I moved to Miami. Yeah, last night we were taking pictures of the people from New York, and the lady said, You're not from New York, you live in Miami. I said, I'm always gonna be from New York.
That's right.
That's my home, you know? New York, so someone in Florida said, where are you from? You from here? No, I'm from New York. Yes, that's New York's my home.
Yeah, if you have more years on the New York side of the ledger, for sure.
Yes,
Yes.
I lived in Connecticut for 13 years,
Mhm.
you know, but I was back and forth to New York all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Miss Barbara, are you born and raised in New York as
I was
well?
wondering when it was my time.
It's just coming now. I'll do as quick as I can to you.
No, I was not born in New York. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. July 21st, 1936. So from there, I went to Athens, Georgia to stay with my grandmother. And
You noticed that she said July 21st. She let me know her birthday's coming
That's
up.
right.
A little sneaky
Set up a
thing
little
there.
mailbox for you
A
guys.
little sneaky thing there, you know, yeah.
And I was raised in Athens, Georgia. And my grandmother raised me. It was 3 girls, and I was the oldest. That's it.
How did you get to New York? When did you get there? Like, when did that happen?
Let me see. When I went to New York, I think she said like 7 or 8 years old, because my mother sent us to not to New York. What am I talking about? I thought you were talking about when I went to Athens, Georgia.
Oh no, to New York. I'm wondering when you got to New York
I-
eventually.
all right, when I went to New York, I was around about 17 or 18 during that time.
Okay, and so I'm very interested. I'm sure everyone wants to know, how did you both get started dancing or introduced to dancing at all? What was your first introduction? Was it whether it was Lindy Hop or anything else? And either one can start. I'll just leave it to you two.
Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you first how I met this one. I came to New York, and my mother knew that I liked dancing. So I had a cousin that lived here. So she told her, I want you to take Barbara to the Savoy. So she said she loved dancing. So when she first asked, I said, well, I'm working now. She said, no, you have to go to the Savoy. So I started going to the Savoy. Every night that I could, I was working during the day, and then I went to the Savoy. And I noticed this group of people always dancing in a circle. And I liked the dancing. I could do it, but not as fast as they could. So what I did, I kept watching, and all of a sudden one night, they had a circle going around, and they was, one guy would pull another girl, and the other would pull another girl. So I was on the outside of the circle. I said, well, I'm not getting in that circle, because I know I can't do them things. So I was on the outside trying to do what they was doing. All of a sudden, this man came and grabbed me by my arm and drug me inside there. I said, I can't do that, I can't do that. He said, yes, you can, just do what you was doing. I said, no. But once I started, then the men would come over and jump and dance. So I began to like that. So the next night I said, I ain't going to work, I'm going to the Savoy. But they like you. When I entered the door, came over to me and said, do you know that man you was dancing with? I said, no. That's my husband. I said, oh. She said, come here. I want to show you what he was trying to show you. And she took me to the side. From that day to this one, we've been just like this.
That could have gone worse. You have the right temperament, Sugar. That's good. How did you know about dancing before Lindy Hop? Was it just always around? Was the encounter growing up? Did you go to any dance school or learn anything before Lindy Hop ever?
Well, I was a tap dancer. I started at 4.
Hey,
4 years old. Yeah, my mother was trying to get me into tap dancing school from 2 years old. And they said, no, we don't take them till 4. So I started taking tap lessons at 4. And I would, and when I got to be like 8, 9, something like that, I would take my little tap outfits and my shoes. I put on my tap outfits, take my shoes, and the record shop in our area, I asked them, you mind if I tap in front of your store? I'd like to maybe make me some movie money, you know? So the guy said, oh no, because they was playing music, blasting out the front of the store. So I'd get to the front of, and you know, and do my little number on their little marble entrance, you know, floor, ground there. And people would give me money, and I have money to go to movies.
So you were professional very early, at an early age. You turned professional.
Well, I got my first gig, I was 9 years old. Tap dancing.
I got to hear about this. What was the gig?
Well, my grandmother belonged to a lot of organizations. You know, they had what they call social teas, and they had little parties on Sunday afternoon. So I would entertain with my taps shoes, yeah.
Wow.
So my first gig was at 9.
Okay, so
Yeah.
my daughter's got a couple years yet to
Oh, yes.
get ready. Okay, good.
She's 3, but you can start preparing her now.
Okay, good. Okay. And Barbara, you said your mother knew you already liked dance. Were you just a kid who loved dance from the beginning, or?
I was just a kid that loved dancing. I never went to a school, nobody. Only body taught me was her husband and her and Sonny Allen. But in school though, I have to admit, I was a little something in school. If you know how y'all have those dances in school? Well, I was always there. I was on the floor when it started, and I was on the floor when it was over. So I was doing the same thing they was doing, but not as fast, but I didn't even know that. But that's the only lesson that I've had.
So it was really watch and learn for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot. It seems like that's a thing. So can we talk about, we sort of heard about your first time at the Savoy. Could you tell us a little bit about your first encounter with the Savoy Ballroom? You all know the Savoy Ballroom? Important Lindy Hop knowledge. If you don't, you got some Googling to do. But so we can talk about the Savoy Ballroom. So we could say the epicenter of Lindy Hop, basically where the best folks danced, I heard.
Well, I saw Lindy Hop from the movies. I got that from the movies, from Hell's a Poppin'. You know, I used to love musicals, and I would always go to see all the musicals. And I'm sitting there, you know, looking at Hell's a Poppin', and these couples came running out on the floor, and they was dressed in maids' outfits and butlers and stuff like that. And they started throwing each other from one to the other, sliding through the legs. And I got to learn that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my first boyfriend. His name was Eugene. His nickname was Ray. I said, Ray, we got to do that. You crazy. I can't do that. I said, yes, we can. Now you just watch. You really watch what they're doing. Well, we sat through the movies as
Were
much
you
as
going
we
out
could.
to see them, like going to a theater to see them?
It was in a theater.
Okay.
And at that time, which you all don't know anything about.
No YouTube, everybody, no?
A lot of you don't even go to the movies because everything's on television. Netflix, I know, yeah. Because I'm one of them. But we would go to the movies and sit through the movies over and over again just to see that segment of Hell's a Poppin'. And at that time, there was a matron in the movies. You sat in the children's section. And at 6 o'clock, when she went home, you went home. So like Saturday and Sunday was good, you know. After school, I could catch maybe one showing, you know, before she would kick us out. And we'd go to Central Park in New York. We'd go down to Central Park, because I didn't live too far from Central Park. And we could get us a little secluded corner on the grass, and him and I were trying to figure out what these people was doing. So we used to go to a teenage canteen that the Pepsi Cola Club had built in our area, and it was only for teenagers from 13 to 18 years old. We would go there every day after school, do our homework, play games. We had a pool table, we had a jukebox, we had a little dance floor, we had a piano in there, and a pool table, we played games and stuff like that. So we would go there, and once a month, we put on a show. We had all kind of talent in there. We had magicians. We had some of them, a lot of them played instruments. They tried to be comedians, you know. I did my little tap thing, you know. I did a little singing and stuff like that. So I told my partner, I said, we're going to wow them at the Pepsi Cola Club this month, because we're going to do this dance they doing. We didn't even know the name of the thing. And so we got a little routine together, and when they had the showing, you know, that's the only time our parents could come in to the Pepsi Cola Club. Adults were not allowed in there. It was only for children. You could come to the front door and ask for your child, and somebody would go and come and get you and take you to your mother's at the door, your father's at the door. So they would come that once a month, and we put on this little show. So we did our little dance, you know. And
how'd it go over?
it came over great. Everybody loved it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, what's the name of it? I don't know. We saw it in the movies, you know, one of those things. So there was a contest came up in Central Park. So we registered for the contest. They said it was a swing contest. So I said, I think that's what we do, a swing, you know. So Ray and I got in the contest, and lo and behold, we won first place. Yeah, we won first place. We were sponsored by Disney, because they had a little short coming out called Make Mine Music. And it was about a soda fountain where teenagers was dancing in this soda fountain. So this was just what they was looking for. And they had sponsored this contest. So we won $25 a piece, and a painting that was made by Disney, which was stolen from me. Yeah, somebody stole, you know, your friends.
Yeah.
Somebody stole it, don't know how, got out the house, but it disappeared anyway. And so that day, this lady came up and told us, you're good enough to be in the Harvest Moon Bowl. We said, what is that? And she said, that's a contest that the Daily News sponsors, and they have the contest at Madison Square Garden. So I said, how do we get in there? She said, go down to the news building on 42nd Street. So that's what we did. We went down there, and we said, we want to register for the Harvest Moon Bowl. And they said, where do you live? So I said, we live in Harlem. They said, oh, well, they already had the preliminaries, because first they'd have preliminaries, and then the five, if you
Wasn't it several
qualified.
different, was it boroughs or was it ballrooms? Or?
It was 3 different ballrooms. Roseland Ballroom, which was downtown on Broadway, Glen Allen Casino, which was out in Long Island, and the Savoy Ballroom. So that took up the whole of New York City, yeah. And you could go to either one of them to qualify at the preliminaries. So what was left was Roseland, which was all white. And so I said, I don't think black people go there. So I said, we're gonna take a chance, Ray. So we did. We went down, registered, fine. They told us what night to be there, what time, be prepared to dance. 3 minutes, so, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we showed up, we went down there, and lo and behold, we came in second. But it was never recorded. You can't find it anywhere.
Oh, no.
They didn't even put it in the paper. They just in the paper they had the 12 names that qualified that night.
Yeah.
So these people are going to Mass Square Garden, But we came and we won second prize that night. Yeah.
And I have to ask, like, the Roseland was maybe very strictly segregated before. Had that changed a bit, but still sort of there? What was it like
That
at your
night,
time?
no, it was all white and us.
But they let you in and looked at you funny?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yes. They let us in, yeah.
Yeah, what was the vibe? Were people
No
into it?
problems,
Okay.
no. I know back in the day Frankie had problems
Mhm.
because they ended up apologizing to him.
Yeah, they eventually
Yeah.
put his shoes up.
They
in
had
there.
his shoes up there
They
in the
said
glass.
sorry,
Yes, they did, yeah.
as they should.
But we had no problems that night,
Okay.
I guess because it was such a popular, widespread contest,
Yeah.
I guess they couldn't afford that. They would have lost clientele and everything,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, like, about what years of this is this?
That
this
was
shows?
46.
And Barbara, at this point, are you
1946.
dancing swing at all at this point, or have you, like, around the late 40s? When did you first encounter swing partner dancing at the Savoy, or had you been familiar with it other places?
I had been familiar with other places, but Savoy was the one that I really practically say grew up in.
Got it.
Yes, there was other places that I went through.
Was it just more casual and familial? Was it like people just sort of knew it around you, or did you go to ballrooms where they did stuff, but not at the level of the Savoy?
I went to ballroom, no matter where there was a dance, I was there. I went.
Yeah.
A lot of time I didn't know nobody until after I met Sugar. Then we all would go at the same time.
And you had some
same
clout.
place. Yeah. But before I would go to ballrooms, but I didn't know nobody there.
Yeah.
And I would be dancing now. Don't get me wrong now. I'm not that. I get it going when I want it. No matter how old I am, I do
true.
it. Like she was talking about the arrow steps and so forth that y'all do now. That was my thing. I love that. I'd rather do that than to dance on the floor.
Really?
I'd rather be in the air. Your mom is in the air.
That's
I
a
love
hot
that.
commodity, because some people are a little scared, so if you're not, that's
yes.
impressive.
She was a flyer. We call them flyers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a flyer too, yeah.
That's amazing. I just have to ask a little bit about the time, because, a lot of people know about Frankie Manning. He's a big figure in the modern scene because he taught a lot of people, spread it around and stuff. A lot of people know Norma. She's been here before. And they're sort of a different generation of dancers than you was earlier. There was a new generation of Lindy Hoppers at the point that you guys kind of came around and did the dance. Like, how popular or prevalent was Lindy Hop? Was it kind of, people knew about it, or was not as common in the broader culture at that point? Like, what would you say?
It was very popular.
Okay.
We were in the third wave.
Okay.
They call it the third wave of Lindy Hop and the Savoy. Frankie and them, they were number one. They started it. Frankie and Norma, they were part of the beginning. They started it all. Found these aerial steps, making mistakes and doing things. Oh yeah, let's make that a step.
Yep.
That type of thing. Yeah. So they started it all, and they're responsible for what you're doing today.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes. So we we went to Madison Square Garden,
Yeah.
you know, and we were there that day. You had to be there 8 o'clock in the morning, and you didn't perform until 8 o'clock at night. That's when it was televised and everything.
And the Harvest Moon Ball had a bunch of different dances, if I'm not
They
mistaken.
had a
right?
lot of categories, yes.
Did you have to dance them all, or were you just Lindy Hop?
We
category?
just did Lindy Hop.
Okay.
Yeah, all of the Lindy Hoppers just did Lindy Hop, but you had Viennese waltz, you had tango, rumba. Later on, they put in polka, and so what you would do is each group would rehearse. The dance floor was like a boxing ring. We call it a boxing ring, but it's square. But only thing, you didn't have the ropes around it.
Has anyone seen some of the footage? I know Bobby's been working on getting good footage up there.
Right,
It's
yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, the square, and
It was big, a big square. It was like really
very big, very big. And then to look around all those seats and see all those people, you know, that's enough to make you freeze right there. Now I don't want to go no further, you know. And we would get there in the morning, and you'd receive. Everybody got a gold medal with your name on the back and the date. And then they show you your dressing rooms. You know, this dressing room is for Viennese waltz. This is a dressing room for this and rumba and so forth. You know, and Lindy Hop was the last dance on the wasn't the last, not exactly the last dance, because they had what they call all around. Because when you did all those other dances, ballroom dances, then they at the end of the night they had what they call all around champ, and they danced. The first place winners danced to become the all around champ of all those dances except Lindy Hop. So we wouldn't, but we were way down on the program, you know. So you sitting there all night watching these people with their beautiful gowns, you know. It was beautiful to see. It really was. And Howard Spoonball, they also had entertainers. They had the comedians. They had probably singers, you know, that type of thing, yeah. And at the beginning, we would march around that floor, everybody.
like the Olympics, like you just sort of
Go
representing?
around, all the way around that square before you went to your seats. So
And
that-
Barbara, you were in this too at a later time? Did
Oh,
you do the
yes.
Harvest Moon Ball as well? So she did it, and then you did it later after you met her?
I did it later.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I did it later.
But it was the same sort of experience, like coming through the whole pageantry.
I
and
don't know,
everything.
because I was scared the whole time. So I don't know if it's the same experience or not.
Yeah,
I know once I hit that floor and saw all those people, my eyes still like this. I
Yeah.
closed my eyes. And the fella I was with, Willie Posey, he told me, he said, Barbara, open your eyes. I said, He said, open your eyes. And I happened to open my eyes, and I looked and I saw them. I said,
Yeah.
I got big then.
yeah. It sounds intense. I mean, it's huge. If you've seen any of the footage, like it's Madison Square Garden
Exactly.
packed.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
huge, thousands of
Exactly.
people, and a lot of dancers as well. I've heard before that Lindy Hop was positioned kind of last in lines with the single dances because it kind of had a different energy than the other dances. It sort of tore the house
yes.
down.
Oh, yeah.
When they announced, and now the Lindy Hop, the people would stand up and scream before we even hit the floor. They were standing up screaming all over the Madison Square Garden, and we would come out and march around that floor, and they would be howling and screaming, you know. Oh, it was such a great feeling, you know. Frightening, but a great feeling. Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
temperature, the tempo that we did then, I haven't seen it in quite a long time.
It's about double our post-pandemic tempo, I think.
Yes,
That's
it
what you're doing. Yeah, from what
Yes.
I've seen, super
Yes,
fast.
that's for sure.
Super fast. Yeah, I mean, the thing about that I feel like Lindy Hop it's a closer. It
Yes.
finishes the show.
Yes,
You don't
sure.
do something
Yeah.
after Lindy Hop.
Right.
And
That's
I
it.
think I've heard other stories from other sort of
Yeah.
elders who've been dancing, and they got the old order switched up in the thing after the first night. They're like, you know what, you guys finish.
And it was like all night, everybody in the whole building was just waiting for us. And when they announced it, that's when it was like they were dancing, the people in the audience, because they were jumping up and down and hollering and screaming, and I, well, my mother and my kids, they was up there hollering, calling my name, and that's everybody's parents and everything, relatives, and they up there hollering, calling your name. You don't know they're calling your names, you just hear a lot of noise, you know. But it's very exciting.
Yeah.
And then the music strikes up. Well, I danced with you danced with the group that you came with, where you danced from. So I saw Glen Island Casino and Roseland, and they test your music in the afternoon, and then Savoy hit the floor. My God, I never heard music like that before. And I said, we all, everybody else is sitting doing this, to see what's coming. And when I saw that, I said, oh my God. Oh, I got to learn that.
It was a different level?
Because I know I wasn't doing what they were doing.
Yeah. What was different about the music? Was it just a different?
It was a similarity thereof what I was doing, But the music was so. When they put that, no, they tell the band, no, here's the beat, and then that music just rises, and it makes you just want to float, Yeah. And I said, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing here, because I'm not doing what they're doing, and they just took over the floor. And each time, and so I had the nerve to ask somebody, well, can I dance with that, with that tempo,
Yeah.
And they said, no, you have to dance Roseland's tempo, So I said, okay, let me get through this night, because I'm headed to Savoy.
Yeah, next time you know what to do.
I definitely will be with the Savoy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, did you go with the Savoy, Barbara?
I was only with the Savoy.
Okay.
I wasn't at the Roseland and any of them, but I noticed what they did. At 3 couples on the floor at the time.
Four.
I'm sorry, on the floor.
Sometimes it was even 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One in each corner.
Got it.
And sometimes
One in
one
the
in the
center.
center. Yeah.
And during that time, during that time when I came up, they would let the ones that was at the other dances, and then when it came down to the Savoy, the band started, and people stopped saying, oh, you got to put it up faster. You got to put it up faster, right?
Really?
Yeah, you got to put it up faster. And once that tempo started, people went wild, and you went wild too, because you had to keep up with that tempo.
Yeah, I imagine did the fear translate into something else once the music hit? I mean, did you just kind of go? Did you remember it at all, or was it just sort of a blur for you dancing at that tempo?
No. I had 2 weeks to train for that particular contest. I wasn't doing that. I was dancing at the Savoy, but I was not in the contest doing it.
Yeah, she wasn't training for it.
Got it.
Because some of us were training for it, and
And
some
I
were
wasn't.
just coming up social dancing. So she was just coming up social dancing
Oh.
and trying and want to learn it, Yeah. So they.
So how did it come to be that you were going to Harvest Moonball?
Well, what had happened, they had this fellow, Willie Posey, and he wanted to dance in he wanted to dance in it. But the trouble about it, a lot of girls, I don't know why, they didn't want to dance with Willie. To me, like Sugar husband said, get Barbara. Barbara dance with anybody. Go ahead and get her. And all of a sudden, I heard somebody say, Barbara, and I'm trying to figure out what they doing, and Sugar and everybody come to me, you got to dance with Willie. I said, She said, yes, you got to dance with Willie. And I turned around and I said, how much time I have? They said 2 weeks. And believe me, in 2 weeks, they got me together. I was there morning, noon, and night.
Oh my gosh.
And I got it together. So when I hit that floor, I was okay.
Yeah.
I was okay.
She made
That's
the
amazing.
preliminaries, yeah.
That's amazing.
She made the preliminaries. And then after preliminaries, it was 3 weeks to the finals. So you had time to brush up add or even change your routine if you wanted to.
Yeah, did you guys have kind of routines that you would do, like little set things?
Oh,
you
yes.
bust out?
Oh, yes. Oh,
I
yes.
suppose at that tempo, you're not like, let me just go off the top of the head. Like, let's get
Because
ready.
sometimes you say, well, maybe this will get me through to get past the preliminaries.
Oh, but you
So
saved
now
some.
I want to really,
Really get it.
you know, I'm going for
Yes.
broke. I
Yeah.
want to go down there and win a prize, you know,
Yes.
first, second, or third. Yeah.
And all first, second, third got to go to the Harvest Moon Ball. Is the idea.
No, 12 couples went to the Harvest.
Okay, I'm sorry, got it.
12 couples went to the Harvest Moon Ball.
But you still want
But
the
out
prize just cause.
Out of 12 couples from 3 ballrooms, they pick first, second, and third prize.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So how many years did you each do the Harvest Moon Ball? Several?
I only did it 1 year.
Just the one.
After then, I won third place.
At the Harvest Moon Ball?
Yes, at the Harvest
Okay.
Moon. And
Okay.
I wasn't looking to win no place. I was just there to help the fella.
Yeah.
When they called my name, I wasn't going up. I forgot all about my name.
Yeah.
They kept saying Barbara, Barbara. But then after that, I turned professional. I started as professional. So once you turn professional, you cannot enter
Anymore.
Got it. Okay. And for
If you
Sharon?
win first place in any of the competitions, any of the categories, you are considered a professional dancer.
Mhm.
Because that night, winning first place, you sign contracts, professional contracts for performances.
Okay.
So from then on, it's up to you if you want to
Whether you want it or not,
continue
you're
to
a
be a
professional.
professional dancer. But you're officially a professional dancer.
And if you got first place, you got on the Ed Sullivan show.
You
That
did
was
Ed Sullivan
huge.
show. You did nightclubs. You did Radio City Music Hall. You know,
Mhm.
different theaters. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. And how many years did you do the Harvest Moon Ball? Harvest Moon Ball?
A few.
A few.
Well, my first one was 1946, which I didn't know when I didn't know what I was doing.
Mhm.
But from the Savoy, it was 1948.
Mm.
So I danced 48. I danced 49. I didn't dance 50. I had a baby. I danced 51. I didn't dance 52. I had a baby.
That's amazing.
I danced 53, 54, won first place, 1955.
Hey. Okay. All right. Wow.
So Barbara won
After the baby.
third
Okay.
place in 1958.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So my husband and I, we was working with her and with Willie Posey, you know, and they won third place. Yeah.
And you and George worked with her old ex-husband. Worked with a lot of dancers.
Many,
right?
many,
They trained up a lot of dancers.
Yes,
there.
yeah. He trained a lot of champs.
Yeah.
Yes,
really.
he trained
Kind
a
of known
lot
for
of
that, right?
champs.
Yeah.
George passed away September last year. September 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was a great
Yeah.
dancer in his own right.
Oh, yes. He never liked to perform.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to be, he would teach.
Yeah.
He would teach. And we would have kids, we would start with kids like six years old. At the preliminaries, we'd have little kids, you know, from 6 on up. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so maybe you can tell us a little bit more. I think like one of the things that like this generation of dancers that we can never go to the Savoy, we miss that time. Like there's a lot of things that we don't miss about that time, we could say. But the dancing at the Savoy is this amazing thing. And I heard about the experience a bit. Maybe you could just share a little bit like what was your experience like on a night at the Savoy? Just social dancing or a contest, whatever you can think of. Either one, like what was it like to go up those steps, see the bandstand, be in there? If you could paint a picture for us a little bit.
Well, when I first went there, and after I got up the stairs and I looked around, I couldn't move. I was stunned. This was the most beautiful place I had ever seen. Now, you know, I've danced in a lot of places, but not like this. And I looked around and I said, is this where I'm going? Everybody said, yeah, this is what you call the Savoy. And once that band started playing, that really did it, because they had more than one band. At one time, one band would start, and then once that band finished on its way out, the other band would come in and start where they was finishing it. So the music never stopped. And you was
It would
going
like finish the song of the last band
yes,
and pick it up.
pick it up.
Yeah.
The
so
music never
that's
stopped. Like now
like
the
an old
bands-
DJ. Like
Yeah, now
Yeah.
the bands would stop and go off, and then the other would come on. That never happened.
Yeah.
Right sugar was
Yeah.
going right behind another one.
The bandstand accommodated 2 full orchestras
Yes.
at the same time.
That's crazy.
So that way the music was steady from 10 straight through till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't want to go to the bathroom. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would run in the bathroom, and the matron said, hurry up, hurry up. Oh, the song is ending. Okay, they're playing another song now. We running out. She handed us the paper towel. We washed our hands, whatever. She said, oh, and they're changing.
Yeah.
So the music was continuous
Yeah.
from 10 to 3 a.m. in the morning.
And I've heard before that like it was a big thing that like the ballroom was so kind of grand and elegant. It was really
The ballroom was,
distinct.
I don't know if you know what a block long is.
Yes.
Well, that's what the ballroom was,
Yeah,
a
New
block
York.
long. From 140th Street to 141st Street. That's how long it was, yeah.
It was a huge grand place. It was kind of the point of the place in some ways to be like, we're a really super classy establishment to have
Yes.
great, like the best musicians,
Yeah.
and I think consequently the best dancers.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Well,
And we had orchestras that was called house bands. So they would play there continually, and other bands would come in, as
Like
guests.
traveling bands.
Yeah.
Who were some highlights? Do you remember any bands that you liked in particular that came
Count
through?
Basie.
Of course. When I first
heard of
started
him.
going to Savoy, Buddy Johnson
Oh, yeah.
and Ella Johnson was a sister. She was singer.
Right.
Yeah, that was a house band. You had Cootie Williams.
Oh yeah.
Instead of just his 5-piece Symphony 5, he would come in with an orchestra. Yeah, he had a big orchestra.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Duke Ellington, of course.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
The
Yep.
first time he played there, they booed him off the stage.
Yeah.
He was too,
He wasn't for the dancers right away, right? I think.
but he learned.
Yeah.
He learned how to play for us. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's hilarious. I've like having spoken to different people who were around back at that time. It seems unanimous that everybody counts Count Basie as the top. Is that the same for you too?
Definitely,
Definitely.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lionel Hampton was another big one.
Yes, he was.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Oh, yeah.
Lionel Hampton. Oh yes. Yeah. Buddy Tate.
Yeah.
He played piano. There was another one. Yeah. We had some great orchestras. Great. Oh
That's-
my gosh.
It makes sense that the dancing was so good if the music is that level. There's something.
And these
about the
bands, most of them played for the dancers.
Yes, they did.
They played for the dancers.
Like they considered their job to like make
Oh
you
yeah,
dance.
yeah. When
They
you
were-
out there dancing and you do one of those flip or something, that drummer say "brum bum," that type of thing, and the brass would kick, and you would make you kill yourself. You'd be dancing so hard. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah. Yeah, and so in a typical evening, was it mostly like social dancing? Did you like mix it up with partners or dance with the same people or?
Everybody danced with everybody.
Mm.
So like she said about the circle,
Mhm.
if a girl get in there, if I'm in there, I might dance with 10 guys on one song
Before you stop.
before
Yeah.
the stop.
Before
And that's like a
another
little
girl
jam
come
for
in,
you
yeah,
in
they
there,
bring
yeah.
another girl.
Yeah, and then you got maybe 5 or 6 girls in that circle doing the same thing.
Yes.
Because the guys are changing from one to the other.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot
And
of
then
people
you
who-
also had your regular partner if you were prepared for the Harvest Moon.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there were
But
like
everybody
seasons,
danced with
sorta.
everybody.
Yeah. So if it's like preparation season, you're gonna have your partner more often.
Yeah.
That's really
And
interesting.
there was aerials that you only did with your partner.
Yes.
You didn't do aerials with everybody. You didn't want everybody throwing you around, because somebody gonna kill you.
That's right.
So you did aerials
Wait,
with your
sugar,
partner
wait, wait.
or certain other people.
Wait,
Yes.
how many times they threw me from one guy to the other?
Yeah. But it was only certain guys. It wasn't
Yeah.
Well, only certain guys could
Yeah.
do that.
could only do that. Yeah.
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 That's right.
Only certain
And
people.
maybe
Okay.
only Barbara was willing.
Oh, yeah, man, yeah.
Now we had the ability to, you're dancing with a guy and he tries to do an aerial step with you and you don't want to, somebody you're not used to dancing. We had the ability to, he couldn't take you off of that floor.
That's
All of a
right.
sudden you
No
weigh
matter
a
what
He
he
knew
did.
what to do. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
no,
right.
no, anybody threw you around. No,
Yeah.
we didn't.
That's
we
an
didn't-
important skill.
We didn't play that. No.
Yeah. So, at the Savoy, like if we think of like all the people in the thing, how many were like really good Lindy Hoppers? How many were like, you know, casual? How many were just watching the thing? You know, like what are the percentages of any given night? Like
I can't really say it because
Me either.
no, I can't really say
you just dance with the good people all the time, so you don't know.
yeah, really, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when Sonny first came up there, Sonny asked me,
Let me tell you. But Son Island him and I came up nearly at the same time. And one night, he went to Sugar and asked Sugar to dance. And she said, no, I'm not dancing with you, you can't dance. He said, one day you're going to be working for me. Didn't that happen?
It did happen.
I told him in your dreams,
That's right.
lo and behold, I was working for the band 13 to 14 years.
Dreams do come true, okay.
For him and with him.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, can you tell that this would be great to hear about some of your favorite dancers from there. Can you name a couple of your favorite dancers? Tell us what was good about them, leaders, followers, whoever that you think of that you kind of enjoyed dancing with or watching.
I didn't find out one of them that I was customer dance with that I did not like. That Limos, Big Nick, Little Nick,
Yeah.
Son Allen,
Ronald Hayes.
Ronald Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
They all of them was really good dancers.
Yeah.
And I started with, when I first came up there, Blue Outlaw,
Oh yeah.
Candy Carter. They had just won the Harvest Moon Ball year back to back.
And is there? Oh yeah. There's a
They
video of
first-
them on Ed Sullivan, I believe.
They
You can
first
find
started teaching me. Blue Outlaw and Candy Carter.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. They both said, no, Sugar, don't do it like Blue says, you know. That's what Candy said. Do it this way, okay. So between the two of them, I got a lot of education with the dance, okay.
Now was
Yeah.
he a little bit more with like Frankie Al? Like was he a generation before you in a way, or was he more close to you in time?
They were, yeah, like they knew Frankie and them.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, they knew them, yeah. So it's when I came in, they were all out of Savoy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were entertaining.
They were
traveling.
professionals.
They were traveling everywhere.
Yep.
And they would come up if they were in town, they would come up, you know.
Did you
and
see
we
them when they came up?
Oh yeah, we treated them like they were kings.
Did they
you know,
throw down
yeah.
and kill it?
The girls didn't come up much, but the guys would come up. Leon James,
Leon James, yeah.
Al Mims, and Frankie. They would show up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are these familiar names, audience? It's important to know those names. Yeah, it's good to know.
So we knew that Leon James and Al Mims traveled together. They entertained together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And but they would come up to the Savoy.
So everyone kind of knew the lineage a little
Yeah.
bit. You're like, they're the people who came before. You knew.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And when they came up, we would get right in the front of the circle, you know, hoping that one of them would grab us to dance, and
Yeah.
we danced with them. We did. Yeah.
I've seen it on video.
Oh yeah, we danced with them
I
a
have
few
seen it,
times.
yeah.
And you know what
Yeah.
though? They didn't try to outdance you. They danced with you.
Yeah.
Really?
You know, and that was good.
Yeah. It's like they had never left.
Really?
You know,
Right,
like they had
right.
been there all the time.
Was it a contrast to like the dancers of your generation, or was it just all the good dancers had
They
that
just
same
like to
thing?
dance.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all the same, really. Yeah.
But it's something interesting if they're this great, but they don't have to prove something or show.
There you
it.
go.
They,
There you
they,
go. You're right.
Yeah.
they
Right.
make a thing with you happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I think that's an interesting thing that like Frankie in his later years with teaching a lot of new dancers who were really inexperienced and didn't have a lot of dancing, he still was pretty generous about
Yeah.
that. That was
Oh,
something
yeah.
that I think people really appreciated about him, is he would make a dance with whoever's there.
And it was like giving you a pat on your back, but one of them grab you into a circle and would say, hey, I know I'm doing it right. Look who grabbed me, you know?
Yeah.
One of those things, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes.
that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Do you remember the filming of the Spirit Moves? Has anyone seen the Spirit Moves? Yeah, it's like precious footage for us because there's not a lot of footage from inside the Savoy Ballroom. So
Right.
whatever you have is sort of like manna from heaven. It's pretty special to see. But what was it like on your side of the thing? I don't know if it was as glamorous as the great. We're like, oh, this is the
Well,
greatest thing ever. But
There was always white people coming up telling us, we're gonna film you and you're gonna show it all over the world. Yeah, right, okay. At first it was a big kick. Okay, all right, and they'd ask you, well, we'll come up here in such a day and we'll bring the photographers and sure, fine, okay. They come up and they do their thing, and bam, And that was the end of it. You never heard from them no more. Maura Dean, she promised us the same thing. She said that we're going to show it all over the world. So yeah, okay, all right. We'll do this. We'll do this, We talk to each other. We say, yeah, we'll do this. She'll pay us for it, and that will be the end of it, like the rest of them. Well, lo and behold, one day we got letters. This man says that he was her lawyer. And we're having a setting. We're showing with you all the filming that she did. And we'd like for you to be there at Lincoln Center. They had a room and everything. So we said, great, So we went down there and he was there. And he gave us a little speech, talking about how she felt about us. Because she would come to Savoy a lot. Because she was dancing. She would dance with us. And
was she Russian?
Yes.
Yes,
She was
okay.
Russian,
Okay.
yes. And so he said, I have an envelope for each one of you from her. And now we're going to show The Spirit Moves. And we sat there and we watched it, and we opened up those envelopes. She had a check in there for each one of us. And a thank you, thank you.
That's how you do it.
Yes.
That's how you do it.
And
That's
what,
amazing.
lo and behold, it's all over the world.
It actually is.
She accomplished what she wanted
It
to do.
actually is, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And she was a ballet dancer originally, I think. Is that
I
right?
think so. That's what I heard, yes.
That's her background, but
Yeah.
she just, at least she had
Yeah.
the taste to be like, this is special.
Yes.
This is worth documenting.
Yes.
Yeah. So raise your hands. How
And
many
we
have seen
didn't
the
do
Spirit
it.
Moves?
We didn't do it all at one day. There was a few days it took to film it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of footage. So
Yes.
there's no sound to it, a lot of it. So it's music is dubbed over,
Dubbed
but it's
over,
amazing
yeah.
stuff to see. Sugar's all over it, I'll just say. Like, she's everywhere. Every guy's like dancing with this one, so you won't miss her. She's the one with the ponytail.
But it was the one with the ponytail.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience.
That's so
really
cool because
was,
it stands in stark contrast to so many
Yes.
other times of like, oh, this is gonna happen, and it doesn't, and it doesn't,
Yeah,
and it doesn't.
people tell you things like that, and you yeah, right, okay.
Yeah.
After you hear it the second time, after the second time, you don't want to believe,
Right, right.
Yeah. But she lived up to everything she promised.
And at the Savoy, like, when you talk about a lot of white people coming up to watch, like, we talk about the Savoy as like a racially integrated ballroom, which it was.
Any and everybody went to the Savoy.
Yeah.
The garbage man, okay? The garbage man, the policeman on the corner, your doctor, your lawyer. the
Was everybody kind of
Dukes
equal when they
and
got in
duchesses. Oh yes. The domestic workers, the babysitters. Everybody came to Savoy and everybody danced with everybody.
Really?
Exactly.
There was no color.
Right.
There was no color.
Yeah. So around your time, like, was it? Would you feel it was? I feel like it was the folks from Harlem that like brought the strongest dancers. But was it different? Did people come from other places and surprise you all
yes.
sometimes?
Oh yes, oh yes,
Oh,
oh
really?
yes, yeah. Yeah, they come up and try to battle us, you
Yeah.
know? Oh yeah, we loved it.
Yeah.
We loved it, sure did. Yeah. On Friday nights, I think it was Friday nights, we had contests, with dance contests.
Was it Friday or Thursday? No, Thursday was a mechanic, but people were
Yeah.
working.
Right, yeah,
So
domestic
it's Friday,
workers, right.
right.
Friday nights, we'd have a Lindy contest.
Right.
Oh yeah. And we had Latin nights.
That's right. At that point,
Oh,
there
yeah.
a lot of
We had
different
Latin
music.
nights, we had Latin contests, we danced against the Palladium. We go to Palladium
Yeah.
and dance with them and at the Palladium also.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes some of our dancers would win at the Palladium. Sometimes they would dance.
Right. You were like
They
great
would,
at that
they
stuff
would
too.
win at the Savoy, yeah.
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 I actually, my wife, Naomi, who's not here this year, but she went to a salsa class in New York, and she was just in this beginner class, and then Sonny Allen walks in, and they're like, "Oh, Sonny, he's one of our vaunted elders. He's this amazing dancer." I'm like, "No, he's ours." But he did both, and he was good at both.
Oh yeah.
So they were like, "Yeah."
Yes.
They all know him too. So
Oh yes. Oh,
yeah, because in those days in the Savoy, there was a big mix, and you can see some of that in the Spirit Moves. There's some great dancing, and it has its own style. I think it's very particular to the Savoy in a way.
That's true. We had Latin night. We had country and western night, where they decorated Savoy Ballroom. They had bales of hay around them.
Yes.
They on the tables. They had the red checkered tablecloths. The guys they had on cowboy boots and cowboy hats, and we had a professional caller for
Oh, really? For square dancing?
for square dancing, yes. And we did square dancing all night. That's right.
amazing.
Yeah.
And can you tell the folks a little bit about Kitchen Mechanics Night, like what that sort of was? Because I think
Kitchen
people don't have the idea of it now.
Yes. Kitchen mechanics was domestic workers, you know. They worked for these were young black people, men and women that worked for rich white people, took care of their kids, cleaned their houses, cooked their meals. My mother was a domestic worker. And they would come up on Thursday nights with their night and Sundays. Some of them was off every other Sunday, but every Thursday night they was off, and they come to Savoy. If you ever saw Malcolm X, they have that in the movie Malcolm X.
Have you seen the swing scene in Malcolm X?
And all
Classic. Gotta
that's
see
true. All that is true about them rushing home on Thursday and getting dressed to go to Savoy
It
Ballroom.
was a big night. Yeah. Everyone let loose.
And they go up to meet guys. Some would just go just to dance. They would meet some guys. Some of them met their husbands like that, you know. The girls met their husbands, and guys met their wives up in the Savoy. Yeah.
That's amazing. If you haven't seen Malcolm X, very good movie, and the swing scene is very good.
Yeah,
and
they
you
have,
can see
they have
Frankie,
swing
you can see
scene there in
Chaz,
the
you can see
ballroom,
Sugar.
and they doing Lindy Hop. Boy, I didn't make it.
Yeah.
Sonny Allen is
Sonny
in that
did it.
movie.
He's in that too?
Sonny
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard from
I
them.
auditioned 3 times, but I wouldn't let nobody throw. I wouldn't do all the aerials.
Okay.
Yeah. They said, we would like to have you, but you gotta do aerials. No more aerials for me.
Okay.
No.
I heard from some of the people,
Yeah.
they said Denzel was actually really good.
Yes.
It could be.
Oh, yes.
They were like, we could teach this guy.
Denzel was
Oh,
great.
yes.
Oh,
And they said
yeah.
Spike Lee, not so much.
No, he was funny.
He didn't have it.
he was
Yeah,
funny.
exactly.
He
You could
was
see
funny.
it
He was
too.
comical. He was comical.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Spike Lee, yeah. But that was a great scene. I mean, that showed Savoy.
Hmm.
I don't know what ballroom was,
They talked about, they say Roseland, but it's a Savoy they're doing.
but it was Savoy scene.
Because I think
a Savoy
they had to
scene.
film in the Roseland because the
Yeah.
Savoy was
Yes.
torn down.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, like, do you remember the closing of the Savoy? Do you remember, like, when that happened?
Oh
What it was
yeah.
about?
1958. Yes, we were all there that night.
Really?
Yeah, because Barbara had just won third place at Harvest Football.
Okay.
And they said it's last night, so we all were there. You know, I wasn't competing anymore because I had won in
And
55
they had advertised this as the last night?
as the last night because they were gonna build us a bigger, a better, grander Savoy across the street.
That
Yes.
was the plan?
Yes.
Oh.
So it was a happy night. It wasn't a sad night,
Huh.
which never happened.
Yeah, and then it didn't happen.
They built housing.
Yeah, did they say why they were closing it?
Because they're gonna build a better one.
Huh.
They need to tear that one down,
Hmm.
and they're gonna build a bigger and better one.
And then they didn't do it.
And it never happened.
Oof.
They built housing,
And what is
and
you
then
guys?
they put that plaque up there.
Yeah, there's a plaque there now. There's a big housing project, and there's a plaque that Lindy Hop
Yeah,
kind of
we've
paid for and set
danced.
up. But
We've danced in front of that plaque. We've taken photos in front
Yeah.
of that plaque.
And you know, a lot of people really come to New York just to go there
Yeah.
to see that plaque.
Like a
They were
pilgrimage.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yep.
They come up out of the busload
Mhm.
just to see that
Just to see
plaque.
that plaque.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
And they take sightseeing tours to see the different ballrooms that was in
Right.
Right.
Harlem.
And now I think there's very few left. It's basically just
None of
Alhambra.
them are left.
Yeah, it's like the small.
Small's
parts.
Paradise is IHOP.
Mm.
Small's Paradise now is IHOP still there?
I hope it's still there.
It's still there, yeah.
So when the Savoy closed and then it didn't open again,
Well,
did the
we were
dancing
dancing-
sort of stop?
We
Did
were,
you go
no, we
somewhere
were
else,
dancing
or-
in Small's Paradise.
Small's Paradise lasted the longest, is
There
that right?
was Connie's Inn, which was a
Mhm.
bar, small bar, but they had a small dance area. And there was another ballroom we used to go to. You remember the name of that one? The one
Yeah.
upstairs? Is it called-
Small's Paradise is upstairs.
No, Small Paradise
Is
was
that
down
what-
upstairs. Small Paradise was downstairs. Ground level, the bar in the front, and the nightclub in the back.
Oh, that's,
The other one there was a long staircase. I had to go upstairs. I can't remember the name of it.
Well, you
But
could
we
just
did
make
have-
one up 'cause we don't
still-
know. It's
we
okay.
still had,
wait a minute.
we still had a couple of places, you know, but
Okay,
it
so you
wasn't
had
like
some.
it wasn't like the Savoy, you know.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, that really.
and so that's tough. I mean, did the scene shrink then? Because it sort of, the number of people doing it, did it sort of shrink because of that?
Yes, it did. It really did. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then disco came in. You
yeah.
know, you had disco came in right around that time.
Okay.
You know, so yeah.
And do you remember at all, like, interfacing, like, when this sort of like, this scene, this sort of like modern scene that got interested in the dance again, do you remember when that started coming up, or when you first bumped up against it? When you first saw it, you see some dancers, you're like, where did you learn this?
No, I'm not getting the question.
Well, like, the like, Beantown wasn't around in the 40s.
Okay.
So, like, the people coming to Beantown, when they learned, we all learned from kind of a different generation of dancers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people learned from Frankie, but a lot of people learned from people who learned from, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Do you remember when you first saw people who were like learning it, you know, especially like white people doing it from around the country, coming, visiting, doing these camps and stuff? Do you remember when that
No, I
started
didn't know
happening?
No, I didn't know anything about that. When someone called me
Uh-huh.
and said, "We have a dance camp," and we
Oh,
would
because you were in
like,
Florida at this point, I realized.
right, we
Uh-huh.
would like for you to come. No, did I start? I might have still been in Connecticut.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
We would like for you to teach a class.
And you were
I
like, what?
said, "What kind of a class?" And they said, "You Lindy Hop, right?" I said, "I used to."
Yeah.
I was like 5 years not doing anything dancing wise. I was
Okay.
working, you know. And I got a call, and somebody wanted to write I think Sally Summers, Professor Summers, she wanted to write an article for the Village Voice about me, and she introduced herself to me over the phone, and I said, "You're Sugar Sullivan?" I said, "Yes." "And you won the House Award in 1955? I said, "Yes." So she said, "Well, I would like to do an article about you." I said, "Okay." And she gave me her address. She lived down 10th Street. I went down to her house in the village, and we talked for a long time, and which I just spoke to her yesterday.
Oh, really?
We're great friends,
Uh-huh.
yeah, all those years. She did this article, I forgot how many pages it was in the Village Voice, with photos and everything, and telling about me, you know. And then people started calling my phone. And I got your number from Sally Summers, and so forth and so
Do
on.
you remember about what year this was?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Terry Monahan called me.
Yes, yeah.
No, Sally called me. "I have a gentleman here I'd like for you to speak to."
Mm.
So I says, "Okay." She said, "It's safe. You can trust him." I
Yep.
says, "Okay."
Terry was a historian, was super.
He was from London.
Into Lindy Hop, really.
And this man came on with this English accent, you know. And I said, "Are you British?" He said, "Scottish." "I'm Scottish, but I live in London. And I have a dance festival every year, and I like to invite you to my festival. I said, in London, England? And he said, yes. And I said, I'd love to, you know? I said, do I need a partner? He says, no. I would like for you to come over and meet. I have a group of dancers called the Jiving Lindy Hoppers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like for you to teach them. I said, what? Teach them what? He said, Lindy Hop. He said, they're Lindy Hoppers. So he said, and you're a Savoy Lindy Hopper. I want them to do Savoy Lindy Hop.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, I'd love to. So that was my first trip going anywhere in Europe. That was 1999.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Frankie was there.
Yeah.
I met Peter Loggins.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I met those dancers over there. He took me to I met white dancers. He took me, he says, we have to be careful in this neighborhood. It's not a very good neighborhood. But they got this center for children, and they're so enthused, and they want to dance, they want to tap, so forth and so. You know, they want Lindy Hop. He took me there, introduced me to those kids. Then there was another group. They were their parents were African descendants.
Okay.
And there was a group there of kids. And so like 3, 4, 5 years, that's what we were doing every summer.
Wow.
We would go to visit them, and they would show us what they had learned. They put on shows for us.
Wow.
They had parties for us. And we would do those 3 places each year we went, before we would go to Harang.
Okay.
Yeah, because Harang, they called me also, yeah.
And so from there it was sort of off, and then
Yes.
you guys traveled together kind of all
different
over
places,
the place.
yeah. And
Now you've
I went
jet
to
setted everywhere.
I went to a dance one night up in Harlem, and the barber had told me about. No, I told her I was going to be at this dance, and so she said, "Okay, I'll come," you know. And she
I
had
had a meeting that night.
yeah
Remember
downstairs in the same building.
Oh, really?
I'm with the Masons and Eastern Stars, so I
Mhm.
had
Yep.
a big meeting that night.
Yeah.
At the Alhambra Ballroom
Okay.
in Harlem. And I said, okay, I'm gonna be there. And we're having this to dance. So I said, come upstairs, you know.
Huh.
So she came up there, and we sat and talked. We hadn't seen each other in a while. And she said, you know, I'm retired now, and I hear you're traveling. I said, yeah, I'm teaching a little bit, you know, dancing, you know. She said, if you need, you know, company, you know, or someone can help you, you know, with your costumes or
Yeah.
whatever, you know, I'd be glad to go along, you know. I said, I love that.
That's so cool.
You
She was
know?
just there. You were just there for a Mason's event?
That's what I was going for, just to
Okay.
help her out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what she
Do her little
thought.
sewing and do things that she
Yeah.
wasn't able to do.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to do.
I said, oh yeah, I got you back, baby.
I've been in some classes where you were
Because she had
sugar,
stopped,
you're my leg, or
she
Barbara, you're my
had
legs.
stopped dancing for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
She has stopped for 30 years. She just left us cold, baby. You know? So I'm talking about, I think I'm getting too old. Look
Yeah.
at her now.
And
I
I
know.
didn't want to break nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at her now.
Okay. Yeah. I've taken a class with you where you're the voice and she's the legs. I've been in those classes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So 2004, I got invited to Harang Dance Camp in Sweden. And I called her. I said, girl, you got to come with me. I've been invited to Sweden. I've never been to Sweden. We never got that far.
Yeah.
You know, we worked all over Canada and the United States with Sunny Allen and the Rockets, you know.
That's another whole lifetime that we didn't get time to discuss.
Oh, yeah, right,
But
yeah.
they got a lot going on, you guys. So.
Yeah, I said, you got to come with me. She said, I'd love to. You know, I said, you don't have to pay for nothing, you know. So that's what we did.
And now you're a dynamic duo,
Yeah.
all over the place. Yeah. I should say I haven't said it all week. They are coming to my event in Minneapolis, just for the record. Uptown Swing Out, little advertising. They are coming. UptownSwingout.com. Go check it out.
So when we got this meeting, and they announced the talk like this, you know, and she said, "Oh, you do talks?" I said, "Yes, we will. We, sugar, we." Well, I don't know nothing. I never
I'm
did
not
nothing.
saying nothing.
I don't have nothing to
I
talk
said, I'm not
about.
saying nothing.
Come on, I never did. Shut up.
I said,
I
so
never
don't
did
ask
nothing.
me. I'm
You
not
know.
saying nothing, so don't ask me.
I never did nothing. I never been nowhere. Girl,
Yeah.
we done danced all across the country, all across Canada. And
Yeah.
she talking about, I never did nothing. I never been nowhere.
And look at her now, so shy, so afraid to talk.
We were booked in a club in Canada for 6 months. The same club.
Wow.
Okay? The lady didn't want us to go home.
Yeah.
We went for 2 weeks now, but we stayed.
And they extended it.
6 months. And she said we could not leave. If you leave, you cannot come back. And they told me she had a black group for 14 years.
Wow.
We said, we ain't doing that.
No.
No, we don't. You know, but we were with her for 6 months.
Wow.
And Christmas came. The clubs were closed the day before Christmas, Christmas Day, and the day after Christmas. So we said 3 days, you know, could we go home, see our families, and come back, you know? I had 2 kids. Another girl has one kid. My dance partner, who threw me around, I was the flyer. She had 2 children, you know? So we just wanted to go see our families, you know?
Yeah.
We said, we're not taking our costumes. We're just going for 3 days. We'll be back. If you leave, you can't come back. We said, well, we're gone. We decided. Sonny said, what girls, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
We said, we want to go home.
Yeah.
So we came home. Yeah.
Wow. Well, we are over time already. I just want to briefly, can you just, real quick, as the last thing, can you just let them know a little bit about what Sonny and the Rockets was, like what you did with Sonny and Alan? Just give us, I know it's a whole kind of lifetime of work for you both, but you were in a totally different performing situation than just going out doing Lindy Hop. It was more than that. Can you let these folks know a little bit about it?
Well, it started with after Sonny won the Harvest Moon Bowl.
Oh, yeah, he's telling he won in 58. When you
Yeah,
won.
he won first place the same year that I won third place.
Okay.
So he came to me, he said, I'm gonna get a group together. So I said, what kind of group? He said, I wanna get a band, I'm gonna get about 4 or 5 girls. Well, you know, I didn't believe that was gonna happen. She didn't believe it was gonna happen either. But he did. He got the group together. Then he says, Sugar, that's a good thing to do, to get Sugar since she wouldn't dance with me. I told her she don't be dancing with me. So he asked Sugar, you take it from there.
So what it ended up was he got 8 girls. We got 8 girls. And Sonny taught us. We practiced for maybe like, oh my gosh, maybe 8 months, about 8 months. And we were, hours a day, hours. My mother said, what the hell are you doing, you know? For hours we would practice, you know. Sonny was teaching us Latin, African, modern. He tapped. He was a tap teacher when he came to Savoy.
Okay.
And I tapped. So we did tap.
I tapped, but I didn't have no taps on my shoes. I had a solo, but I had no taps on my shoes.
And we would close our show with Lindy Hop. And my partner was a girl. I was the flyer. And then Sonny and Barbara would finish it up, you know, at the end, yeah. So.
And how long did you do that with Sonny? Like how many years overall do you think?
Around 13, 14 years.
Wow.
We traveled all across Canada and the United States.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, and Sonny would he would go to. We never went to agents' offices because at that time was a bad time for female entertainers of any kind. Because you went to agents' offices, you audition on a couch, if you know what I mean. Okay? He says, no, I have these girls, they're not going through that. We had professional photos made. They said certain photographers, that's the only ones agents will look at. It's got to have a certain name of the photographer. It's got to be a good photographer. So we all chipped in to do everything. We chipped in to buy our station wagon to travel in. We chipped in for our costumes, which I designed and made.
Okay.
And I taught all the girls to sew, and I would design and cut them out, and they would all sew their costumes, yeah. And
You know what? Before we go into further, she had me going to school. I said, I'm not going to take her mess. I went to school to learn how to sew. And she came to the school. We had a graduation. And she came there and she said, Baba, I don't see nothing belongs to you. I see all these other things. I don't see nothing belongs to you. So I went in and looked. I don't see nothing belongs to me either. So we went and asked one of the ladies, said, come here. She said, come here, Miss Billups. She said, this is your corner right there. I was shocked. She was shocked. She said, I never thought you could do it. And the lady told me, I said, well, why you put mine out and didn't put it with nobody else? She said, because you remind me so much of me.
Really?
She said, you don't want to do it, you want to do it right. She said, and me and my mother decide to give you a corner by yourself.
Wow. That's amazing.
so that's what we did. And the 8 girls went down to 4 girls. The 8 girls only played Small's Paradise because Sonny couldn't book us anywhere, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The 8 girls were just too much.
It's a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, but 4 girls, Sonny, and we carried a 4-piece band.
Wow.
Sonny wrote the score of our music. We had our own scores.
And you actually have some original songs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
They can be found.
And our dance numbers and everything, you know, was all written down. Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my God.
Sonny had us singing too. I don't know where that come from. But he did. He had us singing.
Yeah.
And Shelby just told me you can find that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna get you that pound swing out. We're gonna have a little surprise for you.
Yeah, she said that. She said, you can find it. I said, no, you can't. She said, yes, you can.
Well, you know what? We are overtime by a lot, but I think it's worth it. Am I right? We'll have time. Can we just give a big hand, please, to Mr. Sullivan and Ms. Barbara Billups? Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure. They'll be in the dance watching you, so dance well. All right, everybody, we're gonna roll off the class, so head on out. Thank you.